Jim, why you have to be yapping? So this is a video about my own self with conversations, how you navigate them, and of course it's going to be the most boring answer ever, honestly, but I want to talk about in this video with my own personal experience with yapping. Why am I such a yapper now? What the fuck? Do you yap this much in conversations? And I want to say that lately, yeah, but it's actually producing pretty great results. And I want to give you guys the pain point here, where around college time, I was recommending this book a lot in the algorithms. All the rich people, all the success gurus are saying, you got to read this book. It's called The How to Win the Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's like a book from 1800s. He's basically giving a bunch of principles and stories on how you should interact with people to have them like you and to influence them such that they're in your network, and you can basically have a network where you know a guy to do things and whatnot. It's basically a networking book. It helps a lot with making friends and influence people, as the title says. And one of the basic tenets is, like, the main core concept of it is to make the other person feel good when they talk to you. And you can explain it neurochemically that if you make the other person feel good while they're talking to you, they associate you with a good feeling and such that you are basically a positive thought in their brain, some concept like that. But there was this one concept in there that I took the wrong way, where he was basically saying that when you're in conversations, you want the other person to talk more than you. Like, people like to say, God gave you one mouth and two ears, right? Because you want to listen more while you're talking in conversations. And I think for cases, like, I don't know if this is true for everything, but for most cases, yeah, this is true. But there's also a bit of nuance here where it depends on edge cases. Like, if you're talking to like an older mentor type person, then you should let the other person talk more because they know more about you, right? Because if you talk compared to them, they don't really know, or you don't know anything compared to him, so you don't learn anything if you are the person talking when you're talking with like a super successful person. But if you're talking to somebody who knows less than you, then you should be the person who shares that knowledge and talks with them. Of course, they might know something that you don't know, but in terms of, like, if you're talking about a specific concept, like if you're talking about like money or something, and another person's like rich as fuck and you're not, then you should shut the fuck up and listen, right? But a lot of people fuck this up and basically yap and yap and yap. And I know so many people like this IRL. Like, they don't know how to stop yapping. And yapping, it's a skill, but it's a skill and a power that's held with responsibility. You have to know when to yap and when to not yap. And basically, I took away from that book that I should not be the yapper. I should be the interviewer. I should ask them all the questions and let the other person talk, because that's what the book said. And I want to tell you, this takeaway is not right, because this goes down the interviewing path, where basically when you're in conversations with people, you're just interviewing them. You're just asking questions and they tell you something. And then what I did is I didn't reflect back. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I went to the next question. I didn't say anything back. In a conversation, it's a conversating between two people. When they share something, you share something back. That's the basic tenet of it, right? But I did not fucking share anything back, because I thought that you were supposed to let the other person talk the most and make them feel good talking to you, and they'll think that you're a great conversationalist if you let them talk the most, or if they talk the most, right? Because the more the person talks, the more they think, oh my god, I'm in a great conversation. Even if you counted the exact words, they actually talk like 80% of the time. And I want to tell you that it's a lot more nuanced than that. And with conversating, my main takeaway from that experience was to start yapping more. And this is the only realization that I had, like, kind of recently, when I started yapping and I stopped giving a fuck about others' opinions, and I basically started talking about my own stories. I started being a storyteller. I think it was more when I started doing language tutoring, like private tutoring, that I'm learning from tutors how to speak Korean and Japanese better. My main focus when I talk to my quants is to talk in stories. Like, I just tell them some crazy ass fucking stories, but I try to explain it in Korean and Japanese. And of course, it's like a different context, right? Because you're literally paying to have your speaking corrected by them. But even still, me telling those stories have translated into real life, and I try to IRL, speaking English with other people. And even in this context, it's better, or in many cases, for me, like if I'm talking to somebody new, there's sometimes people aren't really the best conversationalists. They're not really that good at talking. So they try to, or they're just kind of like awkward into conversations. There's not really that much space. So there's like an adjustment that has to be made for, okay, well, somebody in this conversation, they have to realize when to shut up and when to yap, right? And when it comes to those situations where the person that you're talking to isn't really a good speaker, like a good conversationalist, then you have to take that place and be the yapper. Just fucking start yapping shit. Just start coming up with shit out of fucking nowhere. And then you go and like ask them questions or something and have them participate in conversation, right? It's not really all about like keeping the other person feel good about themselves and have them be the main talker of it. Sometimes people don't want to be the main talker in the conversation, so you have to fill that space. So I just want to say, like, the main takeaway of this video is that why you have to be a yapper. So this is just like, again, it's my own personal story with it, where I went to college and I was thinking that I have to let other people talk more, and I had like his interviewing type. But the thing is, I never really had like that deep connection with people. Whenever I met with people, like most people you meet IRL will, just by power law of dynamics, not be your best friends, but you can have more people that you connect with at a surface, or even like a decent level, just by talking more, by sharing your own experience, by showing that you are actually a person and not just a person asking them questions, right? And I think this is a very important takeaway of it. Me personally, when I started becoming more of a yapper, I realized people are more interested in me, or they want to talk more or inquisitive to me some more, all these wonderful things. And it's just my own experience, right? It's also relative as well, because if you're already a super fucking yapper, then you should probably tone that down. It's a relative signal. It's not really like everybody should start being a yapper. But for me personally, me being like this interviewing type, I readjusted my calibration and I started becoming a fucking yapper. And now I realize like conversations are much better and I can make friends like kind of easily and whatnot. And yeah, that's pretty much all I'm saying in this video. Not really that much else to talk about, but yeah, I'll see you guys.